Jesse Tree, Day 17. Our reading for today is from the book of Daniel, chapter 6, verses 1 through 28. Today's reading is about Daniel trusting in God. Chapter 6, verses 1 through 28. Daniel and the lions. Darius thought it would be a good idea to choose 120 satraps to rule throughout his kingdom. He chose 3 men to rule over the 120 satraps. Daniel was one of these 3 supervisors. The king put these men in position to keep anyone from cheating him. Daniel proved himself to be a better supervisor than the others. He did this by his good character and great ability. The king was so impressed with Daniel that he planned to make him ruler over the whole kingdom. But when the other supervisors and satraps heard about this, they were very jealous. They tried to find reasons to accuse Daniel. So they watched what Daniel did as he went about doing the business of the government. They could not find anything wrong with him, so they could not accuse him of doing anything wrong. Daniel was a man people could trust. He did not cheat the king, and he worked very hard. Finally, they said, "We will never find a reason to accuse Daniel of doing something wrong, so we must find something to complain about that is connected to the law of his God." So the 2 supervisors and the satraps went as a group to the king. They said, "King Darius, live forever." The supervisors, prefects, satraps, advisors, and governors have all agreed on something. We think that the king should make this law and that everyone must obey it. For the next 30 days, whoever prays to any god or man except you, king, will be thrown into the lion's den. Now, king, make the law and sign the paper it is written on so that it cannot be changed, because the laws of the Medes and the Persians cannot be canceled or changed. So King Darius made the law and signed it. Daniel always prayed to God 3 times every day. 3 times every day, he bowed down on his knees to pray and praise God. Even though Daniel heard about the new law, he still went to his house to pray. He went up to the upper room of his house and opened the window that faced towards Jerusalem. Then Daniel bowed down on his knees and prayed just as he had always done. Then the supervisors and satraps went as a group and found Daniel praying and asking God for help. So they went to the king and talked to him about the law he had made. They said, "King Darius, you signed a law that says for the next 30 days, anyone who prays to any god or man except you, the king, would be thrown into the lion's den. You did sign that law, didn't you?" The king answered, "Yes, I signed that law, and the law of the Medes and the Persians cannot be canceled or changed." Then they said to the king, "That man Daniel is not paying attention to you. He is one of the captives from Judah, and he is not paying attention to the law you signed." Daniel still prays to his God 3 times every day. The king became very sad and upset when he heard this. He decided to save Daniel. He worked until sunset trying to think of a way to save him. Then the men went as a group to the king and said to him, "Remember, king, that the law of the Medes and the Persians says that no law or command signed by the king can ever be canceled or changed." So King Darius gave the order. They brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, "May the God you serve save you." A big rock was brought and put over the opening of the lion's den. Then the king used his ring and put his seal on the rock. He also used the rings of his officials, put their seals on the rock. This showed that no one could move that rock and bring Daniel out of the lion's den. Then King Darius went back to his house. He did not eat that night. He did not want anyone to come entertain him. He could not sleep all night. The next morning, King Darius got up just as it was getting light and ran to the lion's den. He was very worried. When he got to the lion's den, he called to Daniel. He said, "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God been able to save you from the lions? You always serve your God." Daniel answered, "King, live forever. My God sent his angel to save me. The angel closed the lions' mouths. The lions have not hurt me because my God knows I am innocent. I never did anything wrong to you, King." King Darius was very happy. He told his servants to lift Daniel out of the lion's den. And when Daniel was lifted out of the den, they did not find any injury on his body. The lions did not hurt Daniel because he trusted in his God. Then the king gave a command to bring the men who had accused Daniel to the lions' dens. The men and the wives and children were thrown into the lions' den. The lions grabbed them before they hit the floor. The lions ate their bodies and then chewed on their bones. Then King Darius wrote this letter to all the people from other nations and language groups all around the world. "Greetings, I am making a new law. This law is for the people in every part of my kingdom. All of you must fear and respect the God of Daniel. Daniel's God is the living God. He lives forever. His kingdom will never be destroyed. His rule will never end. God helps and saves people. He does amazing miracles in heaven and on earth. He saved Daniel from the lions." So Daniel was successful during the time Darius was king and when Cyrus the Persian was king. Following God is not always easy. Daniel faced some people that did not like him because he was faithful to God. Jesus faced many hard times when he walked on earth. He was falsely accused, beaten, sent to jail, and even sentenced to death. And when he died, they placed him in a tomb and covered it with a huge rock that couldn't be moved. But just like God protected Daniel from a certain death, Jesus was faithful to God, and he conquered death and rose again on the third day. Think about a time when you had to go through something really hard or painful. How did God help you get through it? Your challenge for today is a science project. You'll need 2 balloons, some Scotch tape, and a push pin. Now I want you to blow both balloons up and tie them off, but don't blow them all the way up, only blow them up partially. Then I want you to take one balloon and poke it with that push pin. What happened to your balloon? Now take the second balloon and put a piece of tape on it. And then I want you to gently guide the push pin through the tape and see what happens. If you do it correctly, the balloon does not pop. And this is a reminder that when God is with us, he helps us to get through the hard times and painful things that we go through.